I do want to touch on heavyweight boxing, right? It's the glamour division. Or it was.
Do we have to?
It was
the one area of boxing that's so frustrating, isn't it?
It was ridiculous, isn't it? It's so bad. It annoys the hell out of me. Before we touch on it, I do want to play out a little clip from Mr. Frank Warren, who phoned in and spoke to Gareth on Fight Night, and he came for your head. He came for your head, Nick. He came for Gareth's head. This is what Frank Warren had to say.
Keep blaming Tyson, and I'm not here banging the drum for Tyson. This is the fella who's gone abroad and fought the best, gone to their countries and been to the States 3 times and beat the hardest punching heavyweight out there in 3 brilliant fights. Went to Germany and fought in 54,000 people in Germany and give him a boxing lesson when he was the best heavyweight out there at the time. Klitschko.
I don't think we're disputing he's not the number one.
Well, that's Frank. What's going down, the thing you've done in the week talking to whoever that bloke you was talking
Nick
to,
Peet on Fight Night Extra,
whoever it is. I mean, what is all that nonsense about? What does he know? How does he know what Tyson's doing? How does he know?
Frank Warren, very acting like he didn't know who you were. You know, who's this? Who's that guy you was on with? Like, he knows who you are. He watches your channel. He knows exactly who you are. But I mean, look, you've always been honest and vocal on your channel about just the state of boxing. And right now, the heavyweight division, again, supposed to be the glamour division with 4 massive names. You can chuck in more if you want. Just is stagnant. It's just they pressed the pause button on it for some reason.
Yeah, completely. You know, and the guy at the top of the tree, the number one heavyweight on the planet, the guy that everybody looks up to, Tyson Fury, is the main protagonist in all this as well. All he does is talk about fighting these days. He doesn't actually do it. He's not committing to any fights. He hasn't got anything in the pipeline. He's calling out Anthony Joshua once Anthony Joshua walks away. I think last week when he called out Joshua and said, we've sent a contract over. Never mind Joshua's team. I think every boxing fan in the country kind of rolled their eyes and said, not this again. You know, quite honestly, do you think Anthony Joshua's management team even opened the email offer? It was like, what's the point? What's the point of going down this road when we know it leads to nothing? I think we all know Anthony Joshua's now hopefully going to commit to a fight with Dillian White. Then there's a potential fight with Deontay Wilder towards the end of the year. We kind of know which direction he's going in. Why is Tyson making these kind of noises? You know, he already turned down the opportunity to pursue the Usyk fight. Usyk seemed like he wanted it. Yeah. Tyson he did and he didn't. Listen, if Tyson had just come out back in February, March, when all this rumbling was going on, said, I want to do Usyk, but let's be honest, we can earn 10 times as much money if we do it at the end of the year. So as long as it happens at the end of the year, everyone cool with that? I think most fans would have gone, okay, Tyson, because anyone listened to this, someone said to you, you can do your job now and get paid this, or you can do a job at the end of the year and get paid 10 times as much. Every single person's going to go, okay, I'll kick it back to the end of the year. It's fine. But to pursue it and not see it through because of the Saudi money that's at the end of the year just kind of blew up in Tyson's face. And right now, I don't want the heavyweight champion of the world number one, to behave like that. I want him to take on all comers. I want him to defend that belt and prove to the world that he truly is the number one heavyweight on the planet. Handpicking Australians who are ranked number 50 odd in the world, nobody gives a damn. And I think that's why Frank was a bit upset, because myself and Gareth were like, we're not interested. We're not interested in seeing Tyson Fury face anybody outside of the top half dozen fighters in the division, because that's what champions should do.
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. In the last 2 weeks, we've heard, and you mentioned those Australians, Dempsey McKean was one, I think Jail Pataya was another. And you're like, John Jones, I'll fight him, and I'll fight Francis Ngannou. And it does get to the stage where you're right. I mean, we shouldn't be, but we do kind of roll our eyes. We roll our eyes at the lineal WBC. And look, we're not trying to say he's the greatest heavyweight there is right now. Yep. And the fact he's not fighting is just annoying. I mean, we gave him kind of we kind of let it slip the fact he fought Chisora. It's like, okay, all right, just fight him. He's your friend. It's a payday for both of you, but not that again. Yeah. All of us, with the expectancy that it would be Usyk next, and it hasn't gone that way, and it's annoying. I'm thinking he can kickstart this everything, but no. Right now, what are we, June, and we still don't know who he's fighting. There's been talks of Andy Ruiz. Oh, Andy Ruiz wanted too much money. I'm like, how much did he want? What's going on? Like, I thought you fight for free and fight for. How much did he want then? It's just, it's so frustrating. It really is. It's not just him. I mean, Wilder's not doing anything right now either. He hasn't really fighted anyone either. It's just Honestly, I'm not quite sure what to make of it all.
There's so much talking and just not nearly enough walking. And then when other things happen, like, Usyk, they're going to pay bids with Dubois, and it's only 8 million. So Usyk will fight Dubois for 6 million, and Dubois is going to get 2 million, we're hearing. And then suddenly that gets spinned. Well, why wouldn't he fight Tyson Fury for 8 million? And why is it always about money? I thought with Tyson it wasn't about money. I thought Tyson was a fighting man that would fight you for free at the bottom of the garden, and no man born of his mother can beat me and all this stuff. Like, where's that gone? Where's that rhetoric gone? Don't get me wrong. We're talking about the guy, as Frank reminded us there, who went out to Germany and done the business against Klitschko, ended an era of heavyweight boxing that basically put the whole of boxing on ice because it went to Germany and it bored the life out of the Americans and people fell out of love. Tyson ended that. It was down to Tyson that the whole heavyweight division got reignited again. And yes, he did go and fight Deontay Wilder 3 times in America. I was at 2 of those fights. Absolutely phenomenal. But that's the guy I believe is the best heavyweight walking this planet. I refuse to see him see out his career by treading water against guys ranked number 50 in the world. Fight twice a year and fight the number 2. And if he's not available, fight number 3. And if he's not available, fight number 4. Why are we talking about anybody else?
Yeah, next man up. Next man up. Look, we're going to talk more heavyweights a bit later. A couple of really big fights this weekend. Sonny Edwards makes his DAZN debut. We'll talk about that against Andres Campos. But the one I really want to touch on is Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez. I just put out a tweet saying, is Josh still the king at 140? Because all of a sudden, we've now moved on to the fact that Regis Prograis number 1. A lot of people think he's number 1. We haven't seen Josh for 15 months. Switch trainer, I think this was a really good trainer in Joe McNally, but I have no idea what Josh to expect. Whereas Josh 15 months ago was undisputed, pound for pound, top 6 or top 7. Not quite sure what we're going to see on the weekend.
Yeah, and that is like the $1 million question. And you know what, Addy, that works both ways. Yeah. Because Teofimo Lopez, there was a moment in time when he took all those belts off Vasyl Lomachenko that we were like, wow, this guy has just broke through. And he's a superstar. And unfortunately, he's been on such a crazy journey, more outside the ring than inside it since. Obviously, the loss to Kambosos certainly didn't help, but he's had a breakdown of his young marriage. He's moved from Las Vegas to New York, back to Las Vegas. Now he's in Miami. Now he's here. He's everywhere. His dad's mad as a box of frogs, and you just don't know what version of Teofimo Lopez is going to turn up either. That, for me, that's part of the fascination about that fight at Madison Square Garden on Saturday night. Is Josh Taylor, can we finally say 15 months ago in Glasgow, it all went wrong. It was an off night for him. That was him at his worst. The guy is back. Because the night before that fight, right leading up to it, we said it many times on Fight Disciples. I think most boxing fans were saying it. He was the best British boxer, period. He was above everybody, above Tyson, above everybody. He'd unified those belts one by one, taking on some of the toughest opponents imaginable. Genuine world champions, former world champions, mixing it at the highest level since his 11th fight. Like, Josh Taylor was something very, very special. But he had an off night, and fighters are allowed to have an off night. But it was what happened in the aftermath with the judging controversy, the way he handled it, the way Top Rank tried to cover it all up, the way he moved on, said he was fighting Jack Catterall, but that fight never actually came off. I just think a lot of British boxing fans have gone from being his biggest fan to now having a bit of a bitter taste. He needs to remind us all that Josh Taylor still exists and he's out to prove himself once more.
Yeah, let's hope he does. Because honestly, if you were telling me 15 months ago that Josh Taylor would still be fighting at 140, I'd have said absolutely not. He can't make the weight. No way. He's going to be 32, 33, 147, 100%, mixing it with those big boys. The fact is, he's been still at 140 surprises me. So let's see what he can do on the weekend. I think it's going to be a really good fight because, as you say, Teo, I think we saw it against Loma, he can surprise a few and step up when he needs to. And he's going to be loving this in his backyard or adopted backyard sometimes. As you say, he's everywhere. Should be a good fight on the weekend. All right, you're listening to Fight Night Extra on talkSPORT 2. Still to come, we are going to hear from both Josh Taylor and Sonny Edwards ahead of their fights this weekend. But up next, we're going to try and go for it, people. We're going to chat about the heavyweight division. Are the riches on offer from Saudi Arabia? The reading that's being held up. All right. Here we go. Cold beans. Welcome back. You're listening to Fight Night Extra. Myself, Adiola Depot, and Nick Peet on talkSPORT 2. We touched on it a bit earlier, the heavyweight division. We're going to try and do a bit of a deep dive on it now because it is the glamour division. The heavyweight, when I was young, was the baddest man on the planet. It was the person that was getting paid the most until Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather came around. And all of a sudden, it's just gone a bit cold. It's gone a bit cold. Dana White's offering Tyson Fury to step in the octagon. It was never, ever going to do and take on John Jones. And Ngannou left UFC hoping to get a fight with one of the heavyweights. Wilder's out there doing nothing. Usyk just signed a deal with Saudi Arabia, basically. AJ looks like he's going to take on Dillian White. I don't know, where do you want to begin? Where do you want to begin on this, Nick? Should we talk about the main man first? Fury.
Yes.
Who do you think he's going to fight next, Nick? What are we thinking here?
Listen, I think he can't just sit around and wait for Usyk at the end of the year in Saudi Arabia. Not if Usyk is going to stay busy, defend one of his belts against Daniel Dubois in Poland, which we're led to believe is going to be happening at the end of summer. I think Fury himself needs some kind of warm-up fight, if you like. I understand that was why they were kind of going down the route of the two Australians, because the options there were two southpaws. Usyk's a southpaw, kind of makes sense. But as you said earlier, he had his gimme against Chisora. It's been over a year now since he's defended his WBC belt against their WBC ranked opponent, which was Dillian White, and that was a one-sided fight anyway. So I want to see him in there with somebody capable, and if not somebody capable, someone that's going to make headlines. And I think for all the negativity,
wait a minute! I know the name you're going to say.
Do Francis Ngannou do the fight? do it. Because the conversation Dana White started this week was baddest man on the planet. It used to be boxing, now it's MMA, and I kind of agree with him. And the baddest man on the planet needs to be. It's kind of a street fighting mentality, isn't it? And
100%.
Let's be honest. A multifaceted mixed martial artist beats a boxer any day of the week, unless you're Glowacki with your back on the canvas in the middle of a football stadium in Warsaw, in Poland.
That looks incredible.
Yeah, but I just think. Do the Ngannou fight. Call it baddest man on the planet. Let Frank Warren sell the living daylights out of it. Let's have a little bit of fun at Wembley Stadium before the football season kicks off again in August. Get that out the way. Make some good money. The Ngannou thing's a one-shot deal. I think anyone in the top 10, anyone capable, should be able to take Francis Ngannou to school.
Yeah.
And then Francis Ngannou's done in boxing because you can't sell him again. You can sell him now as the UFC heavyweight champion who walked away to prove it to the world he was the baddest man. So Fury can beat him and claim that title for himself. Whether you believe it or not, he can do that by winning that one fight. I think Ngannou's probably going to want 8 to 9 million, which is a little bit less than what Ruiz was reportedly asking for.
Take that every day of the week.
I think that's doable. A sold-out Wembley Stadium. You get a lot of MMA fans, UFC fans who'd be buying tickets to see, hopefully, Ngannou beat Fury.
Already. I'm sold.
Listen, I think that's the way to go. And, hopefully Frank will be back on TalkSport next week saying, thanks to Nick Peet, I know exactly who he is. What a wonderful idea.
It's funny because I always wanted to see Wilder versus Ngannou because I've always thought that Fury could just box rings around Ngannou, couldn't he? Really?
Yes.
He's not going to stand and have a trade with him. Whereas Wilder would, and Wilder's not the best in terms of boxing ability. It's there, but it's not elite level. So I thought that would be just a fantastic shootout between two just monsters going in the ring with each other. But I'm with you. Like, if Fury can't get Usyk now, and he can't, because as you say, Usyk versus Dubois, and it's not going to be a Wilder 4, is it? Then yeah, I'm with you, Ngannou. That's what Ngannou wants, and it would be a big. I don't know if our producer's going to beat this out. It'd be a big FU that would be from Ngannou to Dana White. That would.
Yes.
Like, look, I told you I could get it. I've got it. There you go. 9 million in the back pocket. You never paid me that much. Good. And if he loses, he loses. He loses to the best heavyweight on the planet. It's not a problem. You can still have MMA fights. It doesn't lose your shine. So I'm with you. I like the idea of it happening. And I think Ngannou's trying to stoke it online. I think Fury's mentioned a couple of things as well. So hopefully, we're always the last to know. Hopefully there's something going on behind the scenes. But it makes perfect sense. Wembley Stadium, it will sell out easily.
Exactly. And listen, your other options, Joe Joyce losing to Zhang ruined Joe, because it looked like it was going to be Joe Joyce versus Fury this summer ahead of Usyk. Joe blew that by losing to Zhang. Joe activated his rematch clause against Zhang, obviously then ties Zhang up as well. You've got Hergovich over this side, but he's kind of tied to Eddie in the zone. There's no way a deal could possibly be done there. So you're kind of running out of opponents. There's Big Baby Miller who's on his way up. Jared Miller, of course, I'm talking about, who's a former sparring partner of Fury's. I don't think they go down that road. It's too much of a risk. You know, Ruiz wants too much money. The wilder thing's been done. AJ's got other plans. You can't dig Chisora up again. Jeez.
No.
So listen, from a fan's perspective, do Ngannou, man. That would be fun. That would be fun.